Right, where are we? I need to just defeat UASC for you.
Unanticipated signal override.
Oh, we actually.
Walk across your tomb.
Whoa!
After much trials and tribulations, Bungie has finally released Marathon, to, in my opinion, a far better reception than leading up to launch and after its beta would have suggested. Various issues, including stolen artwork and poor feedback, as well as directly competing with an already early established frontrunner in Ark Raiders. Marathon had an uphill battle from the start.
Assert.
And before I give you my review,
Is wrong.
I think it's a miracle this game even launched at all. Considering rumours of a cancellation or indefinite postponement, and while those events have certainly impacted, I think, to the initial feedback and reception of the game, I think what Bungie have made here is a clear indication that they have committed their time wisely into making this not just a competitor in the extraction genre. I think they've made a frontrunner that when the dust settles and it hits more strides, has the potential to be the top game in the extraction shooter genre. Before I go fully in depth, I want to give you a very quick rundown of my playtime and style and what I've experienced so far. This is to preface anything I say and explain why maybe my views differ to yours or other people you might listen to. In between work and other games, I've put in over 40 hours according to the PlayStation in Marathon. I have only played in duos with a no-fill or solo no-fills. I have every faction above level 12 and I'm currently working on their prestige contracts that unlock with each after rank 10. I've taken part in ranked and even ran Cryo Archive. I think, for my opinion, Marathon may lack some nice quality of life features here and there, but the core fundamentals here are so strong, I can't help but think of it as a fantastic game. I try to avoid story spoilers despite the majority of the story on the lore being told through codex entries and basic cutscenes. The basic premise of the gameplay loop is this: you are a runner, a consciousness placed into a fabricated shell to complete contracts. When you die, your consciousness returns to the cloud, where you get another body printed to run again. You are working for various factions for different reasons on the planet Tau Ceti 4, a hostile planet with both unnatural and natural threats. Above the planet is the Marathon ship, a long-lost colony expedition ship that went dark 100 years ago, only recently re-emerging as you play and progress. You'll learn what happened to the ship and the various stakes the factions have in the ship and its endeavour. This is a great place to start talking about what this game does exceptionally well: its art design and visualisation. From the title screen, to faction introductions, to loading screens, and overall map feel and design, Marathon is a hugely unique and gorgeous looking experience that you can't help but get drawn into immediately. Bungie does ominous and world building so well as they have done for years, and that carries over here. You want to read and listen to every codex, take in every sight, because the arresting art style demands you learn about this beautifully dangerous world. I think early builds and versions of the game looked quite cartoony. Bungie seemed to have really increased the sharpness in its design and style here. You can see cracks in the runner's shell, details on each gun. It feels grounded while also being mega sci-fi in every way. It's stunning, and I challenge anyone with an open mind to look at this art direction and not be impressed. But that's enough visuals. Let's get into what is Marathon. The short version: Marathon is a PvPvE extraction shooter a la Ark Raiders. But what does that play like? You go in with a custom loadout of varying levels of rarity, trying to get better loot while encountering AI enemies and real players of up to 3 in squads. If you die, you lose everything you had on you in that moment. You make it out, you keep it all. The idea and the loop is that you eventually get better gear to take in with you, which means you can then extract with better gear, all the while learning the maps and the secrets they inhabit. Marathon also implements what's known as a free kit system, a faction-specific rotating daily free loadout that you can use as many times as you like. Even if you have a vault full of goodies, you can still run the free loadout. This means you are never truly starting from scratch, a nice fallback for casual players as well as those trying to fast-track quests without risking their precious loot. A line Bungie has never had trouble walking is its gameplay. Halo 1 to Reach speak for themselves, with Halo 3 specifically being one of my favourite games of all time. And for the many faults and missteps they did with Destiny 1 and 2, no one could ever dispute the gameplay. from the guns to the abilities. Marathon then, to me, presents as a culmination of all those years and designs. Guns feel punchy, each one different in looks and feel. The movement is crisp and quickly becomes second nature. Mounting chest-high obstacles and some gadgets and abilities means the game has an impressive level of verticality on all levels. The fight can happen below or above you, or right in front of you, leading to a fully dynamic and fluid playstyle. You quickly, without thinking, realise where you can and can't climb to. Its clever and detailed map and point of interest design means you can intuitively navigate most environments in a logical way using the rules the game sets out for you. It follows its own design ethos from map to map, meaning your skills and second nature movement carry over no matter the map and no matter the building.
Yeah, another player just ran there.
Looks like trouble.
Shit, yeah. One's grey shield.
Coupled with the guns and the movement is the third piece of the triangle, runner shells and their abilities. Marathon at launch contains 6 shells and a 7th solo-only mode shell. Each shell comes with unique traits and abilities, with each possessing an ultimate ability. Players will soon gravitate to a preferred playstyle. Early safe gameplay meant I was going with Assassin mainly, the camo-dependent shell. Now I've progressed and I'm more confident with the game, I mainly run Triage, who is classed as the medic. But I encounter a nice variety of shells in my runs. I think early doors some could do with a buff. For example, Thief seems to be a much better recon than the actual recon shell. More will be coming in future seasons, we're told, so it will be interesting to see how Bungie keeps the balance. Because besides the obvious invisible ability, all the shells feel quite well balanced in the sense of not one shell has created a meta, like maybe some of the weapons have. I'm looking at you, bully, my beloved. You can customise both weapons and runner shells, often with cosmetics found by completing challenges found within the codex. Early doors I found these very attainable and already have a nice collection of cosmetics for most runners and shells. The 7th shell I mentioned is the Rook shell, a predetermined loadout shell that specialises in scavenging. Rooks can only be used solo and no quest progression can be done at the time of using that shell. Rook runs drop you in mid-match to a squad fill, but you on your own. The idea being you pick up the scraps of the dead and any loot not already taken. A nice incentive for solo players to build some vault loot and again, not risk their own precious loot. Aside from some special weapons, all weapons come as a base standard rarity, with the quality attachments you put on them determining that gun's rarity. If you put 4 purples into a grey gun, that gun becomes a purple. It's again another neat feature of getting over the fear of using your best stuff. It's not the gun itself that's rare, it's the stuff you put on it. Around the world of Tal City you will find 2 other types of loot, salvage and valuables. Salvage comes in tiers of rarity like guns, from grey to gold, and is used to upgrade things within the faction upgrade menu or can be bartered with certain factions for specific items. Each item comes with a guide on which map and area it can be found in, with some having very specific requirements in certain maps. But each salvage you need can be found in certain containers that are loaded into every single map, again giving players that balance, and the valuables you then collect are also sold for credits upon exfil. As I mentioned, Marathon is a PvPvE. Let's look at the first aspect. Marathon pits around 6 to 7 squads of 3 in the map, with numbers slightly varying on certain maps and in solo mode. Marathon tries to matchmake you with players around your seasonal level. While this doesn't guarantee a level playing field in terms of gear being brought to engagements, I've so far found it relatively balanced, only coming across powered runners compared to myself a handful of times. Guns feel punchy and the feedback is great. Some people may find the TTK a little too fast, however most times I can pinpoint other issues to my death rather than how fast you get downed. But some may find it a little fast, so it is worth bringing up. If you're eliminated, no matter how many times, your teammate can revive your body. It takes longer than a revive, but it's a nice incentive for squads to never give up. You can literally leave and come back at whatever point during that round to revive when the dust settles. Also meaning that a fight isn't over until you've killed every single member of the squad. If one is left alive, you can't guarantee they won't get revived at some point. So that's the PvP side of things. But what about the PvE?
fastball.
For me, this is where Marathon takes the lead in the genre. Whereby in Ark Raiders, for example, the Ark felt either like a hindrance or a complete nothing. Here, the UESC, a government faction intent on keeping Marathon and Tau Ceti for itself, are genuine but killable threats. They come in various forms of rarity, from grey to gold again, from the basic recruits to a gold level warden. Within the UAC are also different types such as grenadiers and ghosts, each of them coming in different forms of rarity as well. Stealth is an option, but the second it's off the table, any UAC in that area will descend upon you, flanking, pushing, and shooting until you or they fall. UAC tend to stick to their given zones. A UAC will not follow you from across the map, but meaning that each zone does contain its own different squads of UASC. Situations in Marathon have a habit of snowballing. Fighting UASC makes noise, which attracts players, which means you then have to fight them, which attracts more UASC, and the circle of PvP VE reveals itself, and each works with each other so well. The key to this, I think, is difficulty. From launch, I believe Bungie have nailed this. UASC are killable in all their forms, but the second you take your eye off them or underestimate them, they will ruin your run fast. It's not perfect. There are times when they do just charge through a door one after the other, but when the pathing kicks in, they'll flank you, walk up the stairs to the building you're in, making them a credible threat without ever feeling cheap or gimmicky. Along the way of loot and killing enemies and players, you'll be completing quests for the 5 factions within the game. Each faction comes with an incredibly stylized introduction cutscene and dialogue specific to them and their quests, highlighting their intentions and motives if you pay attention. These quests are designed to get you around all the maps while learning the game. Completing them gives you faction experience, which in turn unlocks rewards to unlock using the various salvage you've collected while exploring on your runs. These include things such as new unlocks to purchase in the armory, gameplay benefits, or faction-specific unlocks. You will also earn faction XP for playing the game. Specific things you can do during a run will grant you that faction's XP, as well as seasonal experience before the season resets every 3 months. Factions also have specific secondary objectives you can activate infinitely once you have completed your primary objectives and you have nothing else to do for that faction, granting you faction-specific XP. It's a well-designed system, and one that is very rewarding in terms of loot. Each time you level up you gain a faction reward drop, a cache containing items and equipment catered to that faction. So one that's more aggressive rewards you with grenades and equipment, while another will reward you with shields and health charges. These are a great way to keep up people's vaults topped up, and again removed a barrier for me with this type of game, the gear fear. I can never truly dread losing a good equipment, or my good SMG, Bully, my beloved, or that good assault rifle, because the odds are I'll have it back soon through quests, factions, or loot on sponsored kit. Marathon here balances the line between hardcore and casual, a line which is hard to do in an extraction shooter, but one they walk very well. The game isn't perfect, it suffers from UI issues such as shield descriptions and implant descriptions, as well as a bit of a clunky UI and a lot of visual clutter now and again. But these are things that have already started to be tweaked upon launch, so I'm confident that these aren't any real noteworthy issues for the game. Marathon is a loop. You go in with greys, you come out with blue tier loot, you take that in, you may lose it or you may improve upon it. You rinse and repeat until eventually your wins outweigh your losses and your loot is better than it was before. But other than that, what are we working towards? Besides the quests, the shell upgrades and the faction progress and the background story lore, hardcore players will find endgame content their bread and butter. Running for limited times each week, Bungie has rolled out ranked game modes and the Cryo Archive. Ranked gives players a target loot score to hit. To play, you take in a ranked tag with you. Each level of tag gives you a bonus score on top of your final total, but also offers a rank loss penalty if you fail to extract. With the higher rank you go, the more bonus you get, but the more you may lose. Again, Marathon's risk reward system on show, but this time on shiny steroids. And finally, there's Cryo Archive. I won't put any clips in here of Cryo Archive, because I believe as an endgame experience, players should experience that firsthand. Cryo, however, presents as classic Destiny Bungie. Puzzles, layered map space and intricate design coupled with gameplay and raid-like mechanics all contribute to an excellent endgame experience. Players enter Cryo at security level 1, having to kill high-level enemies to increase their security level, or complete side activities to do so as well. Higher security levels offer you more access to different sections of the station. The higher you go, the more that becomes available. Encountered within Cryo is also specific puzzles and vaults, and even a PvE only boss once certain requirements have been met. For a first PvP endgame experience, Bungie has come out swinging. Its intense and intriguing art style at the forefront again, and a great juggle of its gameplay mechanics and rewarding loot, means players get their worth from even just one successful exfil from this station. This is their first crack at this, and I'm only intrigued as to what happens next season.
Oh, you've done your objective. Or my objective.
To some corners of the internet, Marathon was a terrible game and was never going to change their minds, and some even hold that opinion without playing it after release. Marathon and Bungie were in a dark place for a while, Destiny fading and Marathon stumbling before it even set off. I cannot stress enough how strong the foundations are here. Bungie has already addressed certain issues in the game and rolled out immediate fixes and patches, even introducing a duo-only mode on certain maps to test its servers. It's clear they've put all their eggs in this basket, and I think it paid off. Marathon is a worthy entry to the extraction genre, and has such strong foundations that I think the game can thrive. If it carries on being supported and the content roll remains strong, there's no reason Bungie can't overtake a certain other genre giant. Its smooth and punchy gameplay, excellent art design, and soundtrack, coupled with deep lore, all contribute to a real surprise. Marathon is a damn good game, and one that had no right to be. The foundation of a new world must be built on something, and whether it was worth sacrificing Destiny to build those foundations is a topic for another day. The foundations here, regardless, are strong, and more than capable of allowing Bungie to continue to push Marathon to the top of the genre. Marathon gets an 8.5 out of 10.